Do you possess a single treasure that sustains your soul, even if the world dismisses it as mere trash? If someone were to trample upon that treasure, would you have the courage to raise your fist to protect your Arete, the true excellence of your soul? Today we speak of violence disguised as truth, and a strange salvation hidden within a lie. The masses often say, truth is always good, and violence is always evil. But philosophy stands at the boundary and asks, what is it that truly allows a human soul to live? Is a cold truth more virtuous than a life-saving deception? Confront this moment of cognitive dissonance. Only when the walls of your inherited morality crumble will your soul finally begin to hear its own voice. The ancient Greek sage Socrates emphasized a concept called Arete. At its core, it signifies a functional excellence. If the Arete of a blade is its sharpness, and the Arete of a horse is its speed, what then is the Arete of a human being? Socrates defined it with startling simplicity. It is the proper cultivation of the soul. It is the inner citadel that no external force can conquer. In our modern age, we are hypersensitive to physical wounds. We count our scars and track our calories. Yet we remain tragically indifferent to the bruises forming on our invisible selves. Perhaps it is a misunderstood hobby, a quiet obsession, or a deep affection for something others find trivial. The world labels these things abnormal. It demands that you justify your joy through the lens of productivity and logic. When your treasure is thrown to the ground, it is not merely an object being destroyed. It is your soul projected onto that object, being publicly executed. Socrates warned us. To do evil is to damage one's own soul, but he also implied that failing to protect your soul is a form of self-betrayal. To live in a way that your essence remains unharmed, that is the very beginning of the good life. It is a quiet, persistent rebellion against the noise of the world, but is reason alone enough to heal a shattered spirit. Here we encounter the psychological weight of our attachments. In developmental psychology, we speak of transitional objects, things that bridge the gap between our inner world and the harsh reality outside. When we find it difficult to love our fractured selves, we project that love onto an external companion to survive. From the perspective of Christian agape, the question of normality becomes irrelevant. Agape is unconditional love. It is a love that does not ask for credentials. It is poured out regardless of the object's social worth. If a person finds the strength to face another day through a silent, inanimate companion, can we truly dismiss the essence of that love as fake? The world fears what it cannot categorize. It calls your sanctuary a delusion because it cannot inhabit the space you have built. But what if your protector, your guide, chooses to shield that sanctuary with a lie? We are taught from childhood that truth is the ultimate virtue. Kant argued that lying is a violation of human dignity, no matter the circumstances. But existential crisis suggests a different hierarchy. Does a higher good exist that transcends mere clinical truth? Sometimes the truth is not a light. It is a weapon that kills the very thing it illuminates. And sometimes a benevolent deception is the only shield left for a fragile heart. Imagine a gardener shielding a sapling from a lethal frost. Is the shield deceiving the plant about the weather? Or is it simply ensuring the plant lives to see the spring? Friedrich Nietzsche famously said, "Sometimes people don't want to hear the truth because they don't want their illusions destroyed." While usually intended as a critique of human weakness, we must re-examine this as a form of compassionate deception. Not all truths set us free. Some truths act as a freezing rain that kills the first buds of a recovering soul. We must ask ourselves, am I serving the truth, or am I serving life? To choose life over a cold, destructive fact is the resolve of Amor, Fati, love of fate. It is acting not as a slave to rigid moral codes, but as the compassionate master of a destiny. Psychiatrist Scott Peck described the highest stage of spiritual growth as the ability to practice love while actively battling evil. Sometimes, that battle requires us to break the yardstick of conventional truth to save a human spirit from drowning. This is the second naivety. It is the conscious decision to protect a sacred space, even when you know the mechanics of the world outside. It is the understanding that healing requires a period of sheltered growth. It is the grace of allowing someone to believe in their treasure until they are strong enough to carry it without a shield. At the journey's end, we reach the Buddha's final haunting teaching, Atta-dipa. Be a lamp unto yourself. The world will always offer its own lamps. It offers the lamp of social status, the lamp of majority opinion, or the cold flickering lamp of legalism. But these lamps only illuminate the path of the crowd. They do not show you the terrain of your own heart. It is not external approval that saves you. It is the inner voice, the one that declares with calm certainty, "This is my treasure. This is my Arete." When you stop seeking permission to exist, you reach what Paul Fowler calls integrated spirituality. You become the source of your own light. You realize that your treasure was never just the object. It was the capacity of your soul to give meaning to the meaningless. What is inside your bag today? What is that unspoken treasure that held on to you during the long nights when you wanted to disappear? Do not be ashamed of the things that kept you alive. The world may call them shadows, but they were the anchors that kept you from drifting away. By struggling to keep your soul unscarred, by choosing to love what the world ignores, you are already living the most excellent life possible. You are a navigator of your own stormy sea, and your Arete is the steady hand on the wheel, refusing to let the waves crush your inner light. Tonight, put down the burden of the world's truth. Look at the treasure you have guarded so fiercely, and ask yourself, in the silence of your own light, is your soul finally at peace? It is enough to be here. It is enough to be you. The voyage continues, but you are no longer lost.